when you think of winter and vacation, you either think of skiing because you really like the cold, or you think of sunny Florida as a great location to visit. Well, I had a completely different idea this year, and my idea was to go to New York City. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our quick trip to New York City. Now, from the time that our plane touched down at LaGuardia to the time our plane took off from LaGuardia was exactly 63 and a half hours. So, this is just a quick overview of what we got to see in New York City in 63.5 hours. Now, before we could take off and get to our adventure in New York City, we had to get through security in Orlando, and that was a very long line. I was a little concerned because we were there about an hour and a half ahead of time, almost 2 hours ahead of time, but it was a little concerning at first, but everything was great. We hopped on our first flight, we were all excited, ready to go, and we got to see a beautiful sunrise as we took off, so that was amazing. We purposefully sat on the right side of the plane to be able to see the sunrise, and that was fun. Alright, our first stop, once we figured out how to navigate from LaGuardia to Manhattan, and I'll have a video or podcast about that in the future, a little bit of a confusion for me there, but once we finally got there, we went first stop was the Lego store, where we got to see the different Lego sculptures that were specifically New York themed, and that was a lot of fun. And we got to see the garden at the Rockefeller Center and the Rockefeller Building, which was really neat. It was neat to see. We got to see the ice skating, where so famous in many movies. Ice skating, Rockefeller Center. So we got to see that. That was fun. Then one of my goals was to find a fabric store in New York City. Now, I knew I wasn't going to buy anything because it's very expensive, but I did find the fabric district, the fashion district, whatever you want to call it, and we found some fabric stores, so that was cool. Then our next stop, I just recently learned about this, was excited. We found the New York Public Library. We took a quick run inside, looked around a little bit, saw some cool books, and we had to keep moving, but it was cool to see. Our next stop was Fox News, because hey, if you're in New York City, why not stop and see a news organization? And so we did. We saw NBC, and I forget what the other one was as well. But I only remember to take pictures at Fox. And we got to see the 5 live, which was fun as well. Kind of cool to see what you've seen on TV and be able to kind of see it in person, so that was fun. Alright, and our next spot, one of the next spots we went to was that we found the Flatiron Building, which is the first skyscraper built back in 1904, and it was a whopping 21 stories. So tall. It's a miniature now compared to everything else. We also got to see the Empire State Building, which was a lot of fun. Actually see that in person. Didn't go up into it this time. Maybe in the future we'll go get a view from the Empire State Building, but we stayed on the ground this trip. And then also, if you're there, and our hotel was near there, so we had to go through Times Square. It was kind of just lots of lights and lots of screens, lots of advertising during the day, but it's interesting at night as you are a few blocks away, and you come walking up, and you can just start feeling the heat from Times Square because of how hot all of those signs are, and it was interesting. So we had fun, got to see it. Our dinner that first night was at Shake Shack. Awesome burgers, very good chocolate milkshake, so that was good. The next day we had maps in hand, ready to brave the subway as we made our way down to Lower Manhattan. First stop there was to see the Freedom Tower, or the One World Tower, whichever one you want to call it. We also got to see the Memorial Gardens for the North Tower and South Tower from the 9/11 attack, and the globe, I forget the name of the globe that was used to sit out in front of the buildings that was damaged during 9/11. So that was a lot of fun. We went to the 9/11 Memorial Museum. We got to see the Memorial Wall, the Slurry Wall, which is one of the original walls still there from the Twin Towers Foundation. We get to see the foot of the tower, where the original foundation was for both. You could see all of it for the North Tower, but only part of it, like half of the foundation area for the South Tower. But that was still pretty amazing. We were able to see one of the fire engines that was salvaged from the attack that had been damaged. Just kind of, remember seeing it on TV, seeing it in person, was interesting to see. And then one of the most interesting parts for me was seeing the impact point. They showed us a little marker. It said right here, I think it was 1,500 feet above us, something like that, maybe more than that, I forget. At that point was the impact point where Flight 11 had impacted the tower. So that was interesting, kind of nice to reminisce about what I remember from being there, watching it as a kid on TV. So that was interesting. Moving on, we went to Trinity Church, which is located a bit across the street, kind of like right across the street, down the street from the World Trade Center. We also got to see there's a bell that is located in St. Paul's Church, which is very close by, and you'll hear a short video now about that. To the greater glory of God, recognition of the enduring links between the City of London and the City of New York. Forged University, 11 September 2001. Next, we went, and at Trinity Church we were able to find the grave of Alexander Hamilton, as well as Robert Fulton, steamboat tycoon. That was fun. Moving on into the financial district, we were able to find Federal Hall and see where George Washington was sworn in as the first president, which was also where the first Congress of the United States took place. We also saw right across the street from that was Wall Street, and I see the big ticker with all the money stuff that I didn't understand, but it was cool. And then moving down a little bit, it was a little hard to find. I think my GPS was confused, but we did find the Charging Bull and stood in line for a photo there. Then we walked on down to Battery Park, just kind of took some time there, but looked out over the water at the Statue of Liberty, and we could see also Ellis Island, and I believe it was the Governor's Island. I think the other island we saw. Then walking back up towards the Brooklyn Bridge, we came across the Wavertree, which is a cool ship from, I forget what the year was, but it was a neat ship to see there. There's several older ships you could see. It was fun. And we also found the Titanic Memorial Lighthouse. And then we made our way back uptown, up into mid-Manhattan to see Grand Central Station and the Chrysler Building. That was cool. I was kind of plugged into GPS, okay, find Chrysler Building. And then I realized, oh, I've been looking at it for the last day. It's right there. Okay, cool. So we saw that, which is the Chrysler Building is famous because I believe it is the tallest brick skyscraper. So that's pretty cool. Then we made our way over to find the UN building, where I was very disappointed because they had no flags flying. Very disappointed, very sad. Well, and on that day for food, we tried New York style hot dogs right there from a street vendor, and we had New York pizza. Yeah, we tried just the $1 a slice type pizza because we didn't want to eat out at a restaurant. Just got pizza, took it back to the hotel, and it was awesome. On our last full day in New York City, we started out with some Starbucks because, well, it was raining and we couldn't do much of what we wanted to do. We also went down into the subway and just got some different videos there. That was a lot of fun. But we also went to the Intrepid Air and Space Museum. Enjoyed seeing that. The weather was kind of inclement, so it was a bit wet outside, but we had fun on the inside, and we were able to see Space Shuttle Enterprise, which I had never seen before, so that was a lot of fun. We also tried donuts from the donut shop that is right across the street. It's called Underwater West, or Under West, I forget now the name. Should be a picture of the bag that says where it is. We were able to try those. A little expensive, but very good. Enjoyed that. And then our very last minute decision, we decided to see a Broadway show, so we went to the St. James Theater and saw Frozen. And I kind of wrapped up our adventure in New York City, so I hope you enjoyed hearing about what we got to see. There'll be more videos about some more things specifically in the future, but I hope you enjoy that, and keep watching. Be sure to subscribe so that you will be, you'll be aware when the next video happens. You'll be there. You'll see. It'll pop up in your subscription area, notifications, whatever. But be sure to subscribe. Also be sure to stop over at Travel Adventures with Amy on Instagram, and you can see some cool pictures I took from New York City there as well. Talk to you next time on the next Travel Adventures video.